Hello, everyone. You are listening to A Path to New You, a podcast about mental health and veterans issues. Today's topic I want to talk about is actually a really important topic and has been talked about the last few months, especially on the news and all that. It is the banning of cell phones in schools. I'm going to talk a little bit about it and talk about some advantages and disadvantages and some other things that I found online about cell phones and restricting cell phones while in school. Overall, the last few years, there's been a debate over whether to ban cell phones in schools, with arguments on both sides. Students bringing in their cell phones and tablets to their schools in recent years. Most of the schools ban cell phones usage inside their campus. Some of the schools and college permit the usage of cell phones with restrictions. So there's some restrictions for some schools, universities, schools, and all that. So there's some restrictions. Most of the parents allow their students to take their phones to their schools, even if it was banned in schools. Kids will take their cell phones no matter what. Most parents are also concerned about the use of cell phones during class hours, as well as teachers. Teachers are concerned as well. Some of the advantages of banning cell phones in schools are there's some academic benefits. Academic benefits would include reducing distractions. Cell phones can be addictive and disrupt focus, hindering learning and engaging in the classroom. Also, students easily get distracted through social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, now TikTok's been a big one too. Banning them in school would promote attentiveness to lessons and class activities. Without the distraction of cell phones, students are more likely to pay attention in class, leading to improved understanding and retention of material. So if they were banned or restricted during class times, kids or students would be paying attention more often. Also, improved academic performance. Studies have shown a positive correlation between banning mobile phones and higher test scores, potentially due to increased focus and reduced multitasking. Reduced dependence on technology is another one. Banning phones encourages students to rely on their own intellect and resourcefulness. Reduction in cheating. Cell phones can be used to cheat during exams or assignments through text messages, internet searches, and hidden notes. Banning them can help maintain academic integrity. When I was in school or I was in class, if there was a test going on, we'd have to put our phones away or turn them off and put them away. Also, enhanced engagement is another one. Teachers often find it easier to engage with students when they are not distracted by their phones. This can lead to more interactive and productive classroom discussions. What are some safety and security benefits? A major one, which has been going around for a while, is reduced cyberbullying and social pressure. I think I talked about that topic a few months ago. It was about cyberbullying and um, social pressure. I think I talked about that a while ago. Avoiding theft and damage. You know how kids are these days. They'll grab someone else's cell phone while walking in the hallway. Prevention of unauthorized recording. Cell phones can be used to record videos, take pictures without consent, leading to privacy violations. A ban on A ban can protect students and staff from such incidences. There's also some health benefits too. Uh, One of them I found while looking up is reduced risk of obesity. Limiting cell phones can use can decrease behavior, encouraging more physical activity and reducing the risk of obesity. So the less phone time they have, the more they're able to go outside with and work out, go to the gym, work out, or go outside and go play outside. Kids are supposed to be outside; they're not supposed to be in their homes on their cell phones. Better sleep patterns is another one. There's been studies out there saying that when kids are looking at their phones when they're supposed to be in bed, it's harder for them to fall asleep. It's that certain light from the cell phone. It's harder to fall asleep. Better sleep means better grades at school. They're more focused because they're not as tired. What are some disadvantages of banning cell phones in schools? There's some academic drawbacks. Limited access to learning resources. Smartphones can provide valuable educational resources like ebooks, online courses, and research tools. What are some social drawbacks? Isolation from peers. For some students, cell phones are a primary means of staying connected with their friends or family. A ban might lead to feelings of isolation. Yeah, there's several disadvantages of banning cell phones, but there's also advantages of banning cell phones. Again, I talked about improved academic performances. Without the cell phones, when they got more time to study and all that, it's been shown that they do perform better. There's health benefits. The less time they're on their phone, the more time they have with physical activity. I gotta admit, I am on my phone quite a bit, where should be doing other things at times, especially at home when I'm watching TV. I'm always on my phone too. Yeah, there are some advantages and disadvantages, like I mentioned. Now there are some states that are enacting bans on cell phones. There's at least 8 of them. At least 8 states: California, Florida, Indiana, Louisiana, Minnesota, Ohio, South Carolina, and Virginia have enacted measures banning or restricting students' use of cell phones in schools. The policies range widely. Florida state was the first state to crack down on phones in school, passing a 2023 law that requires all public schools to ban cell phone use during class time and block access to social media on district Wi-Fi. So there's a way on their Wi-Fi where they can block social media. Some businesses do that too for their employees. There are certain social platforms that you cannot go into while you're at work. A 2024 California law requires the state's nearly 1,000 school districts to create their own cell phone policies by July 2026. Several other states haven't banned phones yet, but have encouraged school districts to enact such restrictions or have provided funding to store phones during the day. Where there's places where students need to put their phones during the day, like in their locker or other places throughout the school. What is the opposition of these bans? The cell phones have been bans have been face opposition from some parents who say they need to be able to contact their children directly in case of an emergency. Some parents have pointed to recent school shootings where have access to cell phones was the only way some students were able to communicate with loved ones for what they thought might be the last time. The supporters of the bans have noted that school students' phones could pose additional dangers during the emergency by distracting students or by revealing their location during an active shooter situation. Parents opposed to the ban have also said they want their children to have access to their phones for other needs, such as coordinating transportation. Now, a lot of these opposition of bans where they're talking about, like, for example, say parents opposed to the ban from the cell phone at school to coordinate transportation. A lot of that stuff's during after school, so the students would be able to have their phones after school. I do get the whole school shooting situation. There's been more school shootings throughout the last couple of years, and I do kind of agree with that. Where if the students don't have their phone, how are they going to contact their parents about it? That's a good way. That's a good thing to oppose the ban from. The push for cell phone bans have been driven by concerns about the impact screen time has on children's mental health and complaints from teachers that cell phones have become a constant distraction in the classroom. Surgeon General Dr. Vivek Murthy, who has called on Congress to require warning labels on social media platforms about their effects on young people's lives, has said schools need to provide phone-free times. I also agree with that. There definitely needs to be time throughout school where the students should not have their phones. I've been in school before, and I've noticed, actually in high school too, where grade school, where students are on their phones, they're texting while the teacher's trying to teach the class. There's students with their phones out, just texting, kind of hide their phone, texting, or like on their phone, their volume is low, and they're watching or on Facebook and anything like that. So I do agree on some um, banning of cell phones, but there's also times where they can have their phones when they're not in class. Example, for lunch, school lunch, they have like a half hour, an hour. They can have their phones out then. When there's, I know, elementary school, grade school, there's recess and stuff like that where they can have their phones, or breaks between classes. They can have their phones. So some restrictions should be put on cell phones. I agree with that. What do you think? I got questions for those who listen to this. What do you think? Should there be a ban of cell phones in schools, or should there be restrictions? What are your thoughts on it? I will be posting this episode on my Facebook page, and I will comment on it, and hopefully I get a good discussion on it. Um, so that's all I got for today. I hope you learned something. I hope you interact with my Facebook page when I post this episode. I hope you listen to it. Please rate it, comment on it, and tell others about it. Please, you can follow my podcast. The more people I have listening, the more people I can educate on certain mental health topics, on veterans issues as well. I'm also looking for more guests on the show. So if you know someone or yourself would like to be a guest, say you work in the mental health field, or you specialize in a certain something, if you're a therapist or anything like that, please reach out. I'd love to have you as a guest. I talk, and sometimes I just don't like talking all the time. If I had someone else on there, I on this podcast, I would like it. I haven't had a guest in a few months. I haven't done an episode in probably over a month. I've been too busy with everything going on. I'm trying to get at least one episode every 2 weeks, if possible. My podcast is available on most major platforms, um, and it's free to listen to. Even with Spotify, it's free to listen to. All you gotta do is sign up for an account. Um, Again, you're listening to A Path to New You. Until next time, be well.